Welcome back to the Grow Like a Mother podcast. Today, I am really excited to have a fellow Ottawa resident and a fashion consultant, a wardrobe consultant, if you will, here on the show with us. Her name is Michelle LeBlanc, and she is the owner of OH Style, Outer Health Style, where she specializes in helping clients transform their personal and professional lives through tailored styling services. With an emphasis on confidence and personal growth, which I love, Michelle's work goes way beyond just fashion. She helps individuals reconnect with their inner brilliance, enabling them to attract the right opportunities and relationships. Michelle's approach focuses on making everyday dressing stress-free and impactful. Tune in as Michelle shares her insights on the magic of style and how it empowers us to step into our true potential. Welcome, Michelle. I'm so happy to have you here on the podcast as my guest today. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's really exciting to be able to have an expert in clothing and wardrobe and fashion on the show because many of the listeners, like me, are moms and we don't know what to do. So I'm so happy that you're here to guide us.
Well, I'm happy to be here and I'm happy to tell you what to do. I get a lot of inquiries from moms and I work with a lot of moms, so I will try to answer of my very best.
Can you share with us, Michelle, a little bit about why you love this kind of work and like what your favorite piece is about being able to work with fashion?
Yeah, so I mean, I started my career in psychology originally, so that was a completely different route. But I feel like doing this type of work, I get to touch into the psychology part of it. And it's also a way for me to really use my talents because this really encompasses my passion for fashion, the skill that I have, the way to put outfits together, and also I use a lot of my psychology background. So when I worked in psychology, I felt like I could help people, but I am a true believer that when you're working within your purpose, you're healing yourself and you're healing others at the same time. So this is really the full package for me, and I really get to see my clients grow, and I get to see them thrive after we've worked together, and that's completely fulfilling to me.
I love that. I just got like goosebumps all over, which is my sign that this is like truth speaking right now. This feels so good. And I feel so honored that you're here with us. I've got a couple of um, sort of challenges that I thought maybe I could bring to you on behalf of the audience. And you can give us some general advice. And then, listeners, if you want some more specific advice, don't worry because Michelle is available and we will direct you to her after the episode is done. But just some sort of common stuff that you can help us with for some common problems. Does that sound good?
Absolutely.
Okay. So the first thing that I hear it's happening to me, and also I hear about it in my personal group of friends a lot, is that our bodies are different now than the last time we went shopping. And so all of our clothes don't fit us, but we don't really know what to do in terms of new clothes. So we've got really no idea what our style is. So we get stuck. And I guess I'm just wondering, is there anything you could give us in terms of like either a mindset shift or a practical what to do that can help us?
I'm really glad that you mentioned mindset because ultimately that is what it is. Um, and when I work with anybody, whether it's a mom or a man or anyone at all, I say, okay, let's go back to the roots here. Because before you were a professional, before you were a mom, before you were a wife, you were a person. And even as a little kid, you had some things that you were drawn to. Perhaps it was ruffles or polka dots and things like that. And as we grow, sometimes we don't always have the time and the space to connect to our style. Especially, I can only imagine moms who have dedicated, maybe the past 10 years to their husbands, their careers, now their children, that disconnect seems to be wider and wider. I do like to bring it back to the roots, as I said, and just try to see what the essence of the person is. And that's something that, you'll get by working with a professional. They'll get to understand who you are almost at a molecular level. I know that sounds a little bit crazy, but that's how we do it. And it actually really works because we see as people try things on. So, we go into somebody's home and get them to try things that they have into their wardrobe, and you see immediately what they connect with and what they don't. It can be a certain pattern like this. It can be a certain color, a certain shape. The body knows, the mind knows. It's just sometimes we get lost a little bit. So when you've gotten lost within your style, it's easy to go to the mall or anywhere and get overwhelmed because there's so many styles, there's so many colors, there's so many things to choose from. And if you've been disconnected for a while, it's even easier to get lost. So when you work with a professional, we assess the shapes that are good for you. We assess the shapes, the colors that are good for you, and we see what you like. We see what your lifestyle is, and really where you want to go. Goals are very important because if there's an essence about you, if there's a style icon that you have, we're bridging that gap. We're taking where you are and where that person is, your ultimate style icon, and we're finding your way in between the two. I did a post yesterday about, not setting limits for yourself. And a lot of people do. They say, "Oh, well, I can't wear this. I'll never go to a fancy event or whatever." You're almost dictating the fact that you won't be. If you start thinking that you might, if that's important to you, if that's exciting to you, and you'd like to bring more of that into your life, you can attract that by thinking of yourself in those situations and in that wardrobe. We always start by what works for you now, the lifestyle that you're in, but we never forget your goals and we never forget where you're going. So it can be very, very exciting for someone, like you said earlier, maybe who hasn't shopped in 10 years, or some people have the same clothing as high school. Um, and then you're like, okay, who am I now? Does my wardrobe reflect what I'm seeing, where I want to be, or is it someone in the past that I have to reevaluate and connect with that person who's going somewhere now?
Yes, I love
Yeah.
that so much because it feels so personal. It feels like you're holding my hand and walking me through it. Um, but in a way where I'm still like, what I like still matters. Even if I don't know what I like, you're there to help me because I think an underlying fear that might stop someone from hiring a professional for help, at least one that pops into my mind would be like, I'm not going to end up with clothes that represent me. I'm going to end up with clothes that are like fashionable now or cool or that I quote should want to wear, but I won't feel comfortable. Um, so can you talk to us a little bit about that and how you bring it back to, um, you had mentioned like the lifestyle of the person and their goals. Like, is the ultimate goal for the person to look good or to feel comfortable in their clothes or both? Like, what's that? Talk to us.
We try to bring a little bit of both while breaking the current mindset. So you might feel a little bit uncomfortable, but just at first because you might be so used to doing one thing one way that when a new way is introduced to you, you might be like, does this even make sense? But I feel like I have enough impact on people that when they go to do, into their old ways, they're like, wait a minute. Michelle said that maybe if I did this, and then they try it. And I find that quite nice that they trust me enough and they're like, you know what? It felt really nice when I dressed a little bit better, even going to Costco instead of going in the regular sweatpants, just dressing a little bit nicely. And then you're waiting, you're in public because you're always in public, regardless. You are, people see you, right? And on a regular Tuesday, when six people tell you you look nice, that does affect your day. it affects who you speak to, it affects how you walk, how you speak, and how, how you treat other people as well. So it does make a difference. And I love seeing when people adopt new things, even though they're used to certain things, certain lifestyle. I'll take one of my clients, for example. She would have no problems with me saying who she is. Her name's Jose. She's fantastic. She's a mom of two. Her and her husband own an incredible construction company, and she's a hockey mom. So how do I adapt all this to make her look and feel great? She had a style. She had a couple pieces from high school that she really liked, and her body had changed a little bit, but not too much, and she just wanted to keep that youthful essence, look great as a mom, look like a professional when they have to go to these big events, and be comfortable. Like we laid it all out. So we created the best arena outfits. She always looks amazing. Even when she walks her dog, she looks amazing now. She looks great for the events where when her and her husband are presented, you're like, wow, these are successful people in the industry. They present themselves very well. The colors are on point. It's actually quite beautiful to see. But then when she picks up her kids from school, she can look like the cool mom without trying too hard. This is actually her. Like the band shirt that she has, it is 1000% her. She feels amazing in it, but we styled it to a way that it looks appropriate for her age and the lifestyle that she is in. So with all of that, it really helps people thrive because they feel more and more authentic. Again, I serve as like I serve the guidance, but it truly is the essence of the person that we are bringing out. My biggest nightmare would be to dress all my clients the same. Of course, I have certain brands that I prefer because I know the quality very well and I know which prototypes they kind of cater to. Otherwise, everyone will get a completely different look. There might be a bit of an influence of who I am as a person, but very minimally, maybe in the way of styling, but as a person, you will definitely feel unique in your appearance. And that's as important to me as it is to you.
Yeah, and I feel like we would want your flavor in there, right? Like that's why we're hiring you specifically to help us because we appreciate and like your taste and your talent. So it makes sense that that comes into the mix. And I think that the work that you're doing to help women really step into their full potential through the choices that they make in their wardrobe, it's really empowering, isn't it?
It really is. And again, I love seeing if it's a mom going back into the workforce after several years, plus the pandemic had an impact on that. People don't even know how to dress now. Even people who've never stepped away, they still don't know how to dress because the dress codes are different, everything's different. So yeah, just seeing people even going from middle management to C-suite. Sometimes they're like, oh my goodness, my wardrobe does not reflect that, and I don't want to feel like an imposter. So help. So I come in and I bring them to where they need to be so that when they walk into the room, they feel, and it is a psychological thing, they feel like they're on the same level as everybody else. If not yet, the gap is much smaller. Yeah.
Right. And
Mhm.
do people generally need to have a complete overhaul of their wardrobe, or do they work with you to tweak or for a specific, can someone hire you for a specific event? What do the services look like?
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be a full overhaul. I love meeting people where they are at. Some people need 10 new pieces, some people need 30 new pieces. They need a whole wardrobe for the whole year. And I work with everyone from, someone who needs a shopping session one time or a color consultation or a full year's worth of work. Yeah.
Mm. Okay. Yeah, that color consultation seems like something that could be so valuable to have, even just as a starting point, right? Because once you know the palette that's going to work for you, you can start to make these decisions. And you can just like even if you don't have the available funds to hire somebody like Michelle for a whole overhaul, you can get started in really impactful ways. And and I love that. Now, I wanted to ask you about how do we um how do we find what is age appropriate as a mom? Because I love to wear jeans and a t-shirt. That is, I'm comfortable. It's easy. I pair one, I pair two, I put on some earrings and lipstick, and off I go. It feels easy. But I'm not really grown up. And then on the opposite side, I think that sometimes when we go into the workforce, we trust our moms and our aunts and people who are from a different generation who may be giving us guidance on what was appropriate in the office 20 or 30 years ago, but that would make us look really old, right? So how do we bridge that gap? Do you have any sort of generic tips for us?
I do. And in my humble opinion, jeans and a t-shirt, you can wear that until you're 70 and it can still be age appropriate.
Yeah.
Because it's the way you wear it, it's the cut of jean. Some jeans can look way more professional than others. Some t-shirts can look way more professional than others. And not just professional, just who your age. What I like to do with people, I like to make them look like the best version of themselves for the age that they are. I'm not trying to make you look 20 or 70, you know?
Yeah.
Um, so like let's say you have a basic style that you like this, jeans and a t-shirt. If they're the right cut of jeans for you, let's say you have like a nice dark denim boot cut or something, then you can pop a blazer on top if you need to go somewhere. You know, you can spice up the earrings a little bit. I love a good heel, so to have a heel with it if you have a funkier street style and you have, you can pull it off. You can do a funky sneaker with your jeans and your t-shirt, still wear a blazer. You can wear a fun jacket. It really depends on who you are, what you're comfortable with. But we can find a lot of great avenues to build a very simple look. Yeah.
I love that. Another question that I have that I think people may be wondering is, do we need or should we have a separate work wardrobe and home wardrobe? Or is it appropriate or better to intermix, like to have pieces that could multi-purpose? What are your thoughts on that?
Some pieces can multi-purpose. However, sometimes the lines get blurred a little too much.
Right.
I've seen maybe like a frumpier cardigan or something that's more pilled. You're like, oh, it's okay. I wore it on Zoom. No one saw that it was pilled. And then in your mind, it's okay. So you're out to Costco with it, then you're at work with it. Some things should have very specific functions and some things you can definitely you can throw into all your lifestyles. It really depends what it is and the quality of the garment. um, I think that's why we ended up in this mess that we are in now with the work wardrobe, because those lines got blurred. Let's say you're in corporate, it was, suit all day, every day, or a nice skirt with maybe heels and a blouse. Then everyone worked from home. It became much looser. Now people go to work, they're incorporating things that maybe they shouldn't, or they try to buy maybe trousers because they feel like sweatpants, but they shouldn't because they still look like sweatpants. We had a problem with that for a while. And think like it might be a little bit more relaxed, but you're still at work and you might be meeting your most important clients and on your way there. So you should pay attention to those things and not let it get too comfortable, because that can be a downhill slope that's easy to fall on.
Yes. Yes,
Mhm.
it can. It's a slippery slope, as they say.
Yes.
Um, If we are interested in dipping our toe into the world of fashion this year, if one of our resolutions perhaps is to care about the way that we look, can you give us a few things that you think are going to be trendy or popular in 2025 that if we sort of just adopt one that feels good to us or two kind of trends that we could work it in naturally to our existing wardrobe?
This might sound controversial, but no. I don't hop on trends very much, and I'll tell you why. Because first of all, they last about 6 months. Second of all, they're very individual. So if, let's say, a square box jacket with like a bunch of pockets, if that looks good on your body, it might look horrible on me. So if I give that as a general, oh yeah, that's going to be super in, I mean, yeah, a couple brands might design those. Sometimes you walk in stores and everything looks the same because it was trendy. Sometimes that trend can work amazingly for you and you should jump on it for a fun of the moment. Sometimes you should stay as far away from it as you possibly can and stick with the basics if you're not sure. And that's probably the best piece of advice that I can give because you'll save a lot of money. Sometimes a trend comes back. For myself, I look great with a crop top. It might not be for everybody. I have a small waist. I have, full hips and smaller up top. A loose crop top, it really calibrates my figure. I mean, is it good for everyone? No. Some people, it doesn't fit the body. Some people, an oversized shirt can look amazing. For myself, I get lost in it. So you have to adapt the trends to if you do an oversized shirt, if you're more petite on top, or if you need to balance it out, you have to do something tight underneath so that you can leave it open and we can see that there's a figure so the person doesn't get lost.
Mm.
Trends are okay. I always say about 15-20% trendy in the wardrobe and classic pieces that you'll spend more money on because again the rotation is so fast. Let's say you go full trendy in 6 months, you're going to hate most of what's in your wardrobe and it's going to look time stamped. Yeah.
Right. That's
Yeah.
super good advice. Thank you. And I like that it's controversial. I think it won't be the answer a lot of people were expecting to hear, but it's so valuable in its authenticity and it lends, it really leaves us with trust in you and your services that you're going to lead us in the right direction and not just hop on the fashion wagon, right? And gives us permission to look different than other people because it's what works for us and our bodies and our personalities. So thank you for that.
Exactly. And sometimes in some seasons, you'll see certain color palettes that are more, that are
Yeah.
more on trend. And that's fine too. Let's say there's like 5 or 6 colors that are on trend. Once you know yours, you can say, aha, I want to add a couple trendy things to spice it up. Let's say like a warm brown is your color. Okay, that's in. Let's pick up 2, 3 shirts like this, or maybe a little jacket to put in the wardrobe. I look trendy. I look like I know what I'm doing because everything's in harmony and I'm having fun. Once this is over, if the style of it is too trendy that it doesn't work anymore, I can get rid of it. If it's something that's a bit more classic that I can recycle, I know it's still my color. So I can still pick it back up in 2 years or so when it comes back, or whenever it recycles. Yeah.
That's fantastic. And my last question for you before we wrap up is that you and I are both located in Ottawa, but a lot of the listeners are not. Do you offer these types of consultations virtually, or do we need to be in person together?
No, I have clients all over the world. I have clients in Europe. I have clients all over the US and Los Angeles and all the way in Vancouver as well. So we work out a time that works, for both of us. And what I do, I start working with the person. We do a virtual closet consultation. I do a virtual color consultation as well, which is easy to do with a headshot. And then I see everything that's in the closet, everything that needs to be added. And then I send the person out shopping and we make a little date so that they send me pictures as they're trying things the things that I've selected in their style and color within their budget, and then everyone wins.
Oh my gosh, this sounds too good to be true. How do we work with you? Where should we go to get started?
To get started, you can visit my website. It's outerhealth.ca. Very easy. The company has rebranded to OH Style, but Outer Health is the root, and it's the name of the website. Or you can email me info@outerhealth.ca. Find me on Instagram, Outer Health. Everything's pretty easy. It's all under the same name, and I will be more than happy to answer any inquiries that people might have.
This is so exciting. Thank you for your time and your wisdom for sharing with us today. I think there's going to be a lot of happy listeners. Yes, this is really great. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. It was great speaking with you today.
And for everyone who's still here with us listening, thank you for your time. And until next week, keep on growing like a mother.